need for emotional literacy right now is greater than it ever has been before. And luckily, joining me to address managing these feelings is neuropsychologist and neuroscientist Dr. Ilene Naomi Rusk, who founded the Brain and Behavior Clinic in Boulder, Colorado, to help us understand emotional literacy. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you being here.
I'm so happy to be here with you. It's such an incredible time of such a difficult time for so many people.
Yes, it is. So let's start off by talking about what is emotional literacy?
Do we have a good wingspan of knowing ourselves, knowing what we feel? And in any given moment, do we have the opportunity to self-reflect, have self-awareness, and have agency over our feelings? It means, can we regulate our feelings? Do we recognize them when they're coming up? Whether it's any of the things you just talked about, anger, fear, grief, sadness. And it's a particularly really relevant question right now because many people are needing to gain this emotional literacy and emotional intelligence in order to help us get through these very strong emotional seas, Lisa.
I noticed that the emotions are highs and then lows and then highs and then lows. And
that's right.
I don't quite know how to regulate something like that. What have you experienced in your clinic?
Well, we're seeing everybody by telemedicine now, secure telemedicine. So it's, HIPAA compliant, and many people are doing that now. It's interesting. I just wrote a paper on this actually, because I think some people are having highs and lows, and some people are staying high, and some people are staying low. When I say high, I mean like a high agitation, a high anxiety, kind of a trembling of anticipatory, oh my God, what's going to happen? And some are very, very kind of deep in a trough of sadness, deep in a trough of helplessness. And sometimes, yes, there's this cycling, but I think now we're hitting a point where we've experienced this quarantining and physical separateness and isolation for some people and loneliness for some people for quite some time now. I think we're actually hitting a different phase right now, and additional helplessness, additional feelings of being out of control. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. In the beginning, it was very much of we're in this together, help your neighbor. Right. And now it's starting to become dissonance and stress and fear. And it's moving into a place away from that altruistic feeling as we move along in this process. And I'm wondering how we can impact those feelings so that they don't take over us, that we can get a hold of them.
I think you spoke to that a little bit when you introduced the show. And when you introduced me, you were talking about building like-minded community. And how do we do that? We really have to start I was going to say we have to start at home, but really we have to start inside. We have to start with validating our own feelings. It's kind of concentric circles, right? We have to start validating our own feelings, acknowledging, going back to emotional intelligence or emotional literacy. What is it that I'm feeling right now? And can I accept myself in this place of terror or grief or anger even? So it starts with there, and then concentric circles outward, building community, right? So how do I stay in contact with my 18-year-old son who's now finishing high school at home? That's a true story. I really have to try to negotiate that. How do you stay home? So we're each, if we're lucky enough to be quarantined with a family member or a partner, or even an animal like a sweet dog or cat or fish, we have to create some kind of intimacy with them first, and then extend to, how's my neighbor who's really old and living alone? And that way, building the concentric circle of community.